Even the actors on Strange New Worlds are expressing concerns about the way their characters are developing and how their show leans into the original series. Welcome to the Attack and Pulse podcast, your place for sci-fi news, rumour and debate.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.
Sorry if the sound's crap. My microphone's broken. And, well, there's one on order. So, hopefully normal, terrible sound anyway, will restore tomorrow. But, who is this actress that's been talking about Star Trek? And why am I doing a Kirk impression? I don't know. So let's move on. Celia Rose Gooding plays our Uhura, the current situation. And she's actually been talking in an interview at New Jersey Star Trek convention sort of thing about Strange New Worlds and how she doesn't want to rush things with her character. You've got no choice, love. There's only 10 episodes. There's actually only 16 left. But anyway, let's see what she said, and then let's break it down a little bit, and then I'll give you my opinion on how this goes into the Star Trek Year 1 nonsense that Akiva Goldsman, etc. want to do. Her quote: "I think to sort of speak to my original point of just taking baby steps and not jumping the gun, so we can really flesh out every pivotal moment in this character's life that gets them closer to the original series. And whether that all happens in Strange New Worlds, I think that would be great. To get them almost there in Strange New Worlds, just to leave a little room for Star Trek Year 1 and just get there step by step." Now, for me, what she's basically saying there is that there is a gap between where these characters are now and where they're supposed to be at the start of the original series. Uhura's character is shy, nervous, not really having a lot of confidence. She's not the professional that we then see in the original series, so we need to see some development there. Spock is the perfect example, though, really, that he currently is in touch with his human side and not his Vulcan side. And something is going to have to happen there. I think it'll be Pomfar, but you see that in another video when I talked about it. But something is going to have to happen there for him to become the Spock we know. Now, a lot of the argument here is in the episode of Menagerie, he's not the same as in the original series. So, there. And that was obviously with Pike. I think that's a little bit of a cop-out, to be honest, and maybe people reading a little bit too much into a character that wasn't fully developed in Gene Roddenberry's mind. But, okay, we can have that, and it does sort of add a little bit more weight to why Spock is just not Spock at the moment. To read, though, that Celia's point here, that she wants to go baby steps and not rush it, makes me feel that there are concerns within some of the cast that is going to be a problem. Star Trek Year 1, we don't really know what they're planning with that yet, but guys, I've said to you more than once, I feel like it's going to step on the toes of the original series. As we've learned a little bit more, it seems that it's literally going to be Year 1, and that they're going to try to do, or they want to do, like 5 seasons, 50 episodes of Star Trek Year 1, but it'll actually only span 1 calendar year within the Star Trek universe. That it will actually literally just be the first year of Kirk in charge. Now, if you're planning to do over a 1-year span, chronologically very short distance of time, you can't really do a great deal with the characters. They're not going to change dramatically in a 12-month period. Strange New Worlds has been spread out over chronologically a 5-year period. So you can see character development and character changes. New characters can come in and develop over that short period of time, even though it is only 10 episodes. I'm sorry, I'm not going to get over that. When you're doing 24 episodes, you can do great character development, and things like Ortega's PTSD following the first episode of the last season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Season 3, could have been fleshed out way better over 24 episodes, but instead, she has PTSD, she defied orders in the 3rd episode or 2nd episode, and the time they did that remake episode with her on the planet with the Gorn, she was all better. my point is here, when you're doing 10 episodes, you can't flesh out a character particularly well. You almost have to rush it. And even if you're trying not to, it's going to feel like it's rushed to the audience. It just is. And Celia seems to be sort of expressing those concerns from the point of view of an actress who does seem to understand her character and does seem, and again, I'm reading between the lines here, but does seem to understand that her character is not the Uhura we see in the original series. She really says that as we walk up to the original series, we need to develop these characters in that way. She talks about Ethan Peck in another interview, talking about how they're really excited to be able to get their teeth stuck into that. But how do you do it? There's only 16 episodes left of this series. They've got an awful lot to do in those 16 episodes to get up to the point where Pike gets hurt. I think the last 6 episodes in particular are going to be very Pike-centric because he is the centre of the show. We are running up to an event that we all know is going to happen, and it's a violent event. They're going to be running up to that and have to deal with it in a very specific way. They may just throw that as a double episode at the end, but we know already that Paramount actually only wanted a movie in the 5th season because I suspect they're not giving Kurtzman a new deal, but they only wanted a movie. To be honest, the no deal thing is the only thing that explains that. But anyway, getting off topic. They only wanted a movie. Akiva Goldsman basically had to beg for 6 episodes. They said that's the only way to tell the story we need to tell. They got it in the end. And we're now at a position where it feels like that's going to be the point of season 5, Pike. The last few months before he become disabled in that injury. They're going to want to give Anson Mount a decent goodbye. He's been such an important part of this series, an important part of this series' popularity. Remembering that in season 2 of Discovery, we saw Anson Mount as Pike for most of that season, but we really didn't see any of the other characters on the Enterprise. They just had a hello, bye, sort of thing. It was Pike and Anson Mount that the fans fell in love with, and it was because of his character, you can argue, that's why they were so desperate to see Strange New Worlds. For me, he's my favourite part of the show. I think he's brilliant, even though I think the rest of the casting is perfect as well. I just think he's such a good actor. I just think he's great. So they're going to want to do that. It doesn't give enough time for the character development, and I think this actress knows that. And it's another reason why I'm disappointed by Strange New Worlds. But guys, get into the comments and tell me what you think. Is the character development really a big problem in Star Trek Strange New Worlds? And how is it going to tie into the original series? Is Star Trek Year 1 the only way to do it? Well, let's see. But get into the comments and tell me exactly what you think. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. It really helps us out and you'll never miss any of our new videos. Also, you can become a member of the channel and get to see a lot of these videos before everybody else. Go check that out too. As always, please stay safe, and I'll see you next time.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.